Hello, welcome to the Basketball Addicts podcast. Wow, we got a dance. Chris is going at it. Okay. Today we got the top 25 players in the NBA next season. The previous podcast was talking about the reacting to the NBA news of the past 2 weeks, so we really was a fun talk, but today, man, it's top 25 players of next season. Oh, I can't wait to clip that and put that on TikTok. You're about to go. Hey, what? What? You're gonna go viral. It's okay.
I don't want to go viral.
You? Hey, you are today.
No.
Oh, you don't know. I really am gonna put at least 3 clips of that. That was a good 30-second clip right there. So that's gonna cut up into a nice 2:15 clips and one 30-second one.
That's crazy. It be your own people. It be your own people. It be your own people. I swear it be your own people. That's crazy.
You just wait. It's gonna be good, Chris. You might have to do, if that gets more than 500 views on each one, you're gonna have to do it every time now.
Don't do that. No.
Hey, it's for the people. It's not for me. It's not like I'm gonna enjoy watching
I feel
this
like
go
you
on
are.
TikTok.
It's gonna be okay. Whatever.
I am not kidding. This is not a joke. I really am gonna do it.
All right, for all you guys listening out there, if you see the TikTok, do not click it.
Hey, bro, I'm gonna post it on Insta too. Because
not on Insta too. Not on there. I actually know people on Insta. Don't do that.
Wow. Okay.
That ain't cool.
It's gonna be a lot of fun. I can't wait to see that happen. Okay.
Don't do it.
I am though. Oh. All right. Well, today we're going to be talking about top 25 players in the NBA for next season. It's a little bit of a projection based on how we can see some players play and grow, and the growth and possibilities for next year. So, are you ready to kick it to the top 25, starting with number 25?
I got something to say real quick.
All right.
I'm gonna lean in real close so you can really get. We're gonna get real intimate. I'm gonna say exactly what I gotta say. You listening?
Yeah.
LeBron James, best player of all time. All time.
All time.
All time.
That's true. That's a fact.
Okay.
Check out our old episodes where we ranked all-time greatest players about a year ago. It's about
a year
content.
ago.
That's a 5-second clip right there. Thank you.
Oh my god, I can't do nothing. Oh my god.
If I find that song, you're fucked.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
You just wait. You're about to see some serious creativity coming from me. Okay. All right. From one creative player to another, we're going to start with the top 25 player. The 25th player is very creative. His name's LaMelo Ball.
Okay.
It's a big introduction right there. The guy was averaging around 26 and something. The reason why I'm really high on him, one, is he's going to have all the keys to the offense. I mean, this guy is going to have all the freedom. They're moving away from James Borgano. His last name was tough to pronounce. His old head coach that got fired. He was a Spurs descendant. It's not really a good fit with the way LaMelo likes to play. So LaMelo Ball is going to be playing with a lot of freedom next year, a lot of creativity. And I really think he's going to be a 24, 25 points per game scorer. I feel like for a while now, his shot creation from the perimeter has slowly developed. I feel like this is going to break through next year, where this dynamic of his passing and his scoring is going to intersect, and it's going to lead to winning, because this team was a borderline play-in team this year, or was number 10 seed or something like that. Yeah. And I could really see LaMelo Ball being the 25th guy. And what do you think about that?
Oh, I couldn't agree with more. I told you I like the Charlotte Hornets. They're a really exciting team.
Mm-hmm.
LaMelo's really exciting. Like you said, that slow, really methodical kind of like pace of basketball is not really his style. We've seen the way he played basketball. If you look at any of his like high school clips when he was younger, playing for Chino Hills with his brothers, it's really quick up and down. It's like lightning fast passes all the way there. Yeah. A lot of like. That's gonna when they truly allow him to unlock his potential on the court when they give him the keys to the offense, like more like last year, but you'll see more of that. That's when you're really gonna see this man shine, like in a way that we probably haven't seen before, because like he has all like this team is so young, so gifted, so athletic. So once they start running that style of basketball where it's like, oh, we down the court, like, okay, we back now this way, okay, boom, 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 you're going to start seeing it, and it's going to start coming together really nicely.
Yeah, I agree, and I think another thing that I don't want to not talk about before we move on to the next guy is that ability to pass the basketball like he does uplifts all of his teammates. You can't, like, I understand some people love Ant, but LaMelo Ball was the better player last year from that draft class still. Because, yes, Ant is averaging more points per game, but his ability to uplift his teammates and make everybody else better around him is so much more than statistical analysis of what you can put into that. So you have to really factor that into things. He's gonna lower the turnovers as he ages, but I think LaMelo Ball is definitely somebody that's gonna be this top 25 guy. All that talk LeVar Ball did was basically like he was talking about Lonzo Ball, but it should have been like, but my youngest son, like, I can hype up Lonzo all I want, but I don't have to because Melo's that guy. Okay, all right. There was no fake hype in LaMelo Ball. Get special. Are you ready to go to the next guy?
Yeah.
All right, this guy had great stats last year. I think it was like 26 points per game, 5 assists, 4 or 5 rebounds. And Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, he's been cooking on the Oklahoma City Thunder next year. And he's a younger guy. He's going to develop. He's going to get better. He's going to have more good pieces around him. He's a really good scorer. He plays at his own pace. He's really good going downhill, really good passer. And this guy's just going to get only better. I think this is, bless you. He's definitely the star of this team moving forward, and I feel like he's going to be definitely a stamped number 24th player on the list. And what do you think about that?
Yeah, I can agree with that as well. Shai, like you said, like he's really, plays at his own pace. He's a really good scorer. I think that putting him next to Josh Giddey and then also adding that Chet Holmgren will really allow him to really, come into his own. Because, like, the younger the players, the more time they have to develop. And that's a big thing with OKC. Is, like, a lot of the players that they drafted were, okay in college, great in college, but they really just need those reps. That's why I'm glad there's no veteran players on there, because they just need to get, Shai needed time. He had to get to this point.
Yeah.
Josh Giddey needed time. He had to get to this point. Chet's gonna need time. He has to get to that point. So the fact that they have such a young core over there, young exciting core, is gonna look great next year. I think that Shai will be like the top 24 player, because he's gonna reach the next level, because it seems like every year he gets better. And that shows that he works. So he's probably working right now. It's of course it's behind the scenes, because he's not in such a big market. Nobody really knows that much when it comes to him. But we're gonna see him take on a whole nother level of play next year.
Yeah, I bet you 50% of NBA fans don't know he averages more than 26 a game. Like, he's one of those guys that's, slept on just because of situation. But he's definitely, it's a good thing for him. He's made a good career out of himself, and You ready to kick it to the next guy?
Yeah.
The next guy is a guy who was in the playoffs last year, number 23, Zach LaVine. What do we think about Zach LaVine headed into next year?
Oh. Zach LaVine? He just got paid, too. So I think we're just going to see a lot more of the same, which is just like this dominant, kind of inside, outside, but not in the mid-range sense, but more inside like the long-range sense, and then like just high-flying. That's what we're going to see, because that team really fits him well, especially once Lonzo comes back, because that takes a lot of the pressure off of Caruso and those other players to have to make decisions, because Lonzo's like one of the greatest decision makers on that team
in the league.
LeBron's still in the league.
I thought you said one of the greatest.
I said on that team.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So, so I just see like Zach LaVine just doing more of the same. I think he's going to average probably around like 28 points per game, honestly. I mean, but the thing is, though, it's like, can he figure it out with DeRozan?
Yeah, I'm sure as DeRozan ages, he's going to keep on getting more of the minutes and like the touches and the offensive system. I think they do need to make things a little better by not forcing him to be in the mid-range. I feel like they did a little too much to keep congruency as a team when DeMar DeRozan was off the floor. I think they need, because before last year he was a not traditional, but James Harden like guy where it's either a 3-point shot that's contested, but the type of shots I can make, or I'm finishing at the rim, and there was like no mid range, and so it's kind of, he was played out of his own game last year.
Yeah.
So I expect him to continue getting better. Yeah, he's a worker, man. He's you can't deny the amount of skill that he's developed over the past 6 years. That's hard work right there. So he should be proud of himself. I think he's just going to continue to get better.
He's came a long way from Minnesota.
Yeah, that's true. Because he used to just be a leaper.
Yeah.
Used to be just a guy that finishes around the rim. But now it's like it's secondary to his great perimeter shot creation for himself.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's hard work. All right, you ready to go to the next guy?
Yeah.
The next guy is number 22, Jaylen Brown, NBA Finals guy. Jaylen Brown, number 22. What do we think about Jaylen Brown?
Jaylen Brown, I think, has been slept on for a little bit.
Yeah.
Because, like, last playoffs, a couple months ago, he put the world on notice. He said it's not just Jason Tatum over here. It's Jaylen Brown, too. It's not just JT. We got a JB. Because, man, oh, my gosh. At some points during the playoffs, I was just like, damn, like, I just need Jason. I was like, Jaylen Brown, get a bucket. Like, not Jason Tatum. Jaylen Brown, get us a bucket. Because he was leading the team, basically. Like, he was the true focal point scoring-wise for that team. Like, they was like, okay, Jaylen Brown, get the ball. We all get out the way. Jason Tatum going to stay back here. I mean, I just feel like it's going to be just more of the same. He's going to come more into his own. Because he slept on. Be aware of Jaylen Brown. Next year, be aware. Like, they'll just... Because he gets overshadowed a lot by Jason Tatum. Because everybody's like, oh, it's Jason Tatum's team. Jason Tatum. Yeah. Jaylen Brown.
Yeah, I agree, man. Jaylen Brown he's a great shot creator for himself. He knows how to... He's gotten a lot better at shifting gears. What I mean by that is he'll go from... kind of trying to slow you down off those first few steps, and then he'll explode and use his athletic gifts. It'll just go by, right? He's kind of really good at that. He's also a worker. He's kind of like Jonathan Kuminga, where Jonathan Kuminga's first season in the NBA, he's a defensive guy, right? He doesn't have much else of a role. Jaylen Brown's first year in the NBA was defensive guy and athletic. And, so he's kept that throughout his career. He's always been a great defender. He's a key to that team as well from what they do defensively. And he's gotten better as a passer as well. He knows when to take shots. He just knows when to be aggressive. He's definitely matured a lot, and I really feel like he's definitely very deserving of the spot, man. 22 is a good spot for him heading into next year.
Yeah.
All right, you ready to kick it to the next guy?
Yes, sir.
Oh my goodness, this guy is so disrespected. Number 21 is Karl Anthony Towns. What are we thinking about him, Chris?
Oh my gosh, Karl Anthony Towns is really disrespected. Okay,
yes.
Look. Outside of, like, the fact that he's dating, like, my dream girl, Jordan Woods, that's besides the point, so I don't really like him because of that. But...
What if I told you I have no clue who Jordan Woods is?
Wow. Okay. That's all I got to say. But, yeah, so... I think that he's probably one of the best shooting big men that I've seen, you know what I mean, in the past couple years. He's definitely in a semi-bad situation because there's no way that he shouldn't be the best player on that team And we should be looking at him to take those big shots, to make those big moments. We should be looking at him to do those things. But instead, we're like, Ant just came in a year ago. He's our guy. Well, you know what I mean? Like, that's really what happened. It's really, truly, he's very disrespected. I can agree with that. Because they really just was like, I like this more. Move to the side. Like, that's just, I like pineapples. Like, what? I don't like just water. It's like, I don't know. That's the best way I can describe it. You know, even with illustrated. But definitely disrespected big man. I want to see him, like, really, truly. I mean, because I know he's in that point where it's like, I think a couple years ago, I think he had like 29 points per game or something crazy like that. It's just like, I just want to see more of that. Take your team back, you know what I mean, and learn how to flourish within him. Because like, there's like, they really scooted him off to the side. Was like, we like Anthony, we like Ant-Man better than you, Cat. We don't want to play with you anymore, and throw him away. It was like, okay, but you look what you put around me. Like, what do you want? What do you expect me to do? Mm-hmm. What do you expect me to do?
Yeah.
With everything.
Go ahead.
No, you go ahead.
Yeah, he's just a guy stuck in the wrong situation. First things first, last year he should have been the highest shooting guy, the guy that get the most touches. He doesn't get more than 20 touches a game at like scoring. He doesn't get more than 20 shots up a game. You know, his issue is his scheme, the way they build teams around him just doesn't make a lot of sense. You know, with Rudy Gobert there now, his stats are going to go down more because they have another center in there, and he's going to be forced to do more perimeter things. And, you know, they're just using him terribly. It's like if the Toronto Raptors would have, like, let's say, no. I guess if the Toronto Raptors would have had Chris Bosh. You remember when they had Chris Bosh? And they would have had guards, and they would have had a center, and they would have said, you know what, Chris Bosh, we're just going to force you to stand at the three-point line like we have LeBron James and Dwayne Wade on our team. You know what I mean? We're going to force you to stand out there. Like, Cat's so much better than that. Cat's so much more grand than that. Cat's an easy 25 and 10. 26 and 10, 27 and 10 if he was used correctly. I mean, it's just he just does so many things on the floor, and he's such a great three-point shooter as well. It's just they don't know how to build a team over there in Minnesota. They just so, you know, even though he might be the 21st best player, his stats are not going to show that.
Yeah.
Sadly. No. So what do you think about number 20? We got DeMar DeRozan.
Ooh, DeMar DeRozan. I don't know what was going on in Toronto and in like San Antonio. Like we saw like this in Toronto, right? And then like San Antonio was like, he was like, okay, I don't know. Like I'm trying to be that guy, but that's another guy who is just that guy. Like he's really like I don't know how, like. I think he hit like back-to-back clutch shots, like something crazy like that. Like it was like we didn't even know DeMar DeRozan was clutch like that. Like how did you not know? Like I feel like as he ages, it's gonna be just more of the same. I feel like we're not gonna see him really come downhill anymore as much. I think he's really just gonna learn how to operate really well in that mid-range and live within his own game. And that's what's gonna that's gonna take him to new heights. Because as long as he don't have to like bump in bodies all night, especially at because he's getting older, you just live within that mid-range, and then he's gonna do great. I think he's gonna be another 20+ point per game scorer next year. I mean, it's gonna be more of the same, and they're gonna figure it out with Zach LaVine, and then we're gonna see the Chicago Bulls in the playoffs again.
Yeah, I honestly disagree a little bit. I think the reason why we saw an influx in his stats was because of rule changes. They came out and said, oh, we won't let any, you bump into somebody's body and you try to draw a foul. We're not going to call that anymore, right? We saw a lot of Luka Doncic and Trae Young putting up all these stats the year before last year, and they had all these issues at the beginning of the season trying to adjust to the new rules. Well, DeMar DeRozan's game has always been ISO guy. I have to sit tough shots in the mid-range. I don't really cheat. It's not like I'm out here like bumping bodies and, faking and falling down. Like, DeMar DeRozan has, like, a Kobe Bryant-like game. Like, he has great fundamentals, great footwork, all those type of things. And it doesn't matter if the rules are for or against him, he was still going to do whatever he did. So he got a little bit of an inflation in stats because, it was harder to score last year because of the rule changes. So a guy like him became more valuable. So, that's why he is where he is, and that's why I think his stats increased.
Okay.
Yeah. All right, you ready to kick it to the next guy?
Yeah.
All right, well, the next guy has a lot of ifs, a lot of question marks. If he's healthy, if he really does look like a Zeus. We're talking about Zion Williamson here at 19. The man had like 26 and 12 before he was hurt like a year ago, maybe 2 years ago. We don't know what he is. We don't know how healthy he is, but, this guy used to be dominant for like his short periods of time. So what do you think about Zion here at 19?
I feel like the fact that, he's a cornerstone of the franchise. But I can agree with that, because, I wouldn't put him too high because he was out. You know what I mean? So, if his career is going to continue to be injury prone, where he's just I'm always hurt because it's hard for me to keep lifting up this big frame. But when he does play on the court, you can't deny that there is talent there. He knows he understands the game of basketball. He knows how to play the basketball. He can dominate the game of basketball. That is not many players who could but he can dominate the game of basketball if he just slims down a little bit. So I would say that coming into next season, if he could play a whole season healthy without too many nagging injuries at indefinitely or months at a time, then I can see it happen. I can see him going forward and even being coming up into the top 10 projected eventually.
Yeah, his upside is really high because his game is much different than college. When he was in the NBA, it was he was running the pick and rolls as the guard and making decisions and being a good passer and attacking the basket. He didn't play like people expected him to play. People expected him to play like Charles Barkley and just post and, body somebody underneath the rim and use his size and just finish around the rim. He didn't play like that. So he's skilled, and it's going to be interesting to see the way he plays and the way they use him. And, it's going to be very interesting. You ready to kick it to the next guy?
Yeah.
All right, number 18, we're talking high-tier trade asset here, Donovan Mitchell. What do you think about Donovan Mitchell?
Spider? Donovan.
Yes,
Mitchell.
Spider.
Yeah. I really don't see him being with the Utah Jazz next season. I think he's going to get traded before that, before the season start, or he might get traded at the All-Star break. Who knows? But even at that point, we still seen a lot of things last year. For one, I think going into next year, I think it's going to be a little bit different for him because he won't have Rudy Gobert blocking, guarding the hole all day. So it's going to open the court up a lot more for him to operate. You know what I mean? You don't have somebody else on the team who thinks that, oh yeah, I'm the defensive player of the year. I'm better than you, Donovan. But no, I'm the guy. I'm the guy. You ever seen Spy Kids?
Yes, been a while.
I think the last one he was he's not the guy. I'm the guy. That's who he's
I
the
don't
guy.
remember it, but it's okay.
Yeah, so it's just more of the same, just 25 plus points per game. He's a phenomenal scorer. He's just going to just go somewhere and just really just truly come into his own more than he did in Utah. I feel like Utah didn't quite stifle his growth, but the fact that he was just eliminated so many times, we never got to see what his potential truly could become in the playoff setting, because that's when the level of play really elevates. He doesn't have the right team around him, so I feel like once they put the right team around him, we're really going to see Donovan Mitchell really, really, truly hit his prime.
Yeah, I think this guy's just such a special player. He's done crazy things in the playoffs, 40-point games, 50-point games. He's a nuclear explosion waiting to happen scoring-wise. So, yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see where he ends up and how he's used systematically speaking, but he's special. So, yeah, what do you think about the 17th guy, another two-guard, Devin Booker?
I don't know. Devin Booker, for me at least. We know he's a great scorer and things like that, but how do I put this? And I don't want to say it sound crazy with it. Phenomenal shot creator. I just feel like, with that whole Chris Paul thing, like, he elevates and makes the team better. He might, like, kind of inflated his stats a little bit. Because, I mean, like, he was already, like, really, really good scorer. But I feel like just the added, with Chris Paul, it's just, like, now he's, like, he thinks he's a little bit better than maybe what he could be.
Maybe
a little bit. Yeah. A little bit. But, I mean, with that same team, I mean, you're just going to have the same result. I mean, I feel like he's...
Mm-hmm.
What I want to say is that he's like one of Kobe's many proteges, like outside of Jason Tatum, and I just think that maybe he'll just, we know that he's a worker because Kobe wouldn't align with himself if he wasn't. So we should see more of the same. I mean, like it's hard to really say otherwise because he's still pretty young. I really don't see him slowing down right away. So I just maybe a 28 points per game score possibly. It just depends because like. This is hard. Okay, so what I'm going to say is, like, it's hard to judge this one is because we don't know what the team's going to look like next year. Because the Suns was a possible KD trade destination. So if KD comes, he's definitely not going to get the lion's share of the ball anymore. They're not going to, KD's going to take majority of the shots. And then he's going to have to take a semi-back seat. So, I mean, like, I really can't tell you.
Yeah, I could see where you're coming from. I personally think Chris Paul put out their negatives as a team, which was they didn't have the basketball IQ, they didn't have the passing, they didn't have that guy that was the leader to lead them mentally pre-Chris Paul. And I think Chris Paul's rubbed off of D-Book a little bit. I think D-Book understands how to win better. I think he knows when to score, when to shoot, kind of how to play strategically, how to be as a leader, how to, read defenses, how do you lead teammates. I think Chris Paul is really rubbed off on him. And even though Donovan Mitchell might have better playoff stats, for example, I think Devin Booker is the better winner from the two. I think his mentality is just in a better spot. So that's what I'm thinking for number 17. We're going to go ahead and I'm going to go ahead and transition to number 16. For 16th guy for me is number 16 is a guy who's just in contract issues, having issues contracts wise, trying to get into an agreement, and his name is Kyrie Irving. Now, when we're projecting Kyrie Irving for next year, man, this guy's a 27 point per game scorer. Kyrie Irving's such a special bucket. I mean, he is so skilled on his own team, and if you put him on like the Oklahoma City Thunder and you just trade him out for Shai Gilgeous, he'd probably average 30. But Kyrie has his weaknesses. Kyrie's not a good defender. He's not a good passer. He's a point guard. So he's flawed to a certain extent. And I think Kyrie Irving at 16, it's a good example to say that the league's in a really good place. The top 15 guys on this list are ridiculous. I mean, all 15 of these guys are special. The top 10 is special. So, this is a good indicator of how good the NBA is right now. And, it's just an exciting time to be a basketball fan, and it's an exciting time to be, because Kyrie is just so special with the ball in his hands. Like, all the political stuff, you want to talk about COVID, you want to talk about anything you want to talk about, but you can't say Kyrie Irving is not skilled. You can't say Kyrie Irving does not have an impact on winning basketball, on playing the game. Yeah, it's just he has to have the right team around him. Look at LeBron James. When he was with LeBron, a great passer, a great leader, a great defender. His negatives got overlooked, and he didn't have to carry the team. And, I really think that Kyrie Irving is right about here because he does have his negatives, even though he is just a dynamic scorer of all time. I mean, he's just so special. It's hard to compare him to anybody else. So then we're gonna go ahead and transition to the number 15th player, the top 15 guys on this board, and the 15th guy is somebody that's definitely is definitely having his best way I can put it is he's redeemed his career, and that's Paul George. Paul George had that shot go off the backboard, and everybody was losing their mind. Oh my gosh, Paul George is not a star. He's not a winner. He's not clutch. Well, look at what he's done over the last few years. I mean, he put the Clippers on his back and took them to the Western Conference Finals the year before last year. I mean, he put the Clippers in good positions last year when he was playing. I mean, the year before last year, without Kawhi Leonard, that guy was like 29, 28 points per game, good passer, 5 assists per game, ridiculously gifted defender. Like, we have to give him his flowers. And just because most people don't understand the fact that because when you have Kawhi and Paul George on the same team at the same time, that they score from the same similar spots, that they don't work really well together. So he doesn't really get the stats. He doesn't really get the rhythm like he should. And that's just, situational problems. But you can't negate the fact that he is a special player as the star. And, he's better than Kyrie because even though Kyrie might be the better individual scorer, Paul George is a better passer and light years ahead of him defending. And, that type of thing is lead the winning basketball. So Paul George is one of those guys that he's a winner. He just has never had the ability to be on the stage other than when the Pacers were really good. And they were battling LeBron, and he was that guy. Number 14 is another injury-prone guy. It's so hard to know what he's going to be next year, and I just can't trust it. His name's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis is number 14. I mean, we've talked about this guy top 5 before. This guy used to be a lock top 10. But when you're averaging 22 points per game and you're going down statistically downhill in most of his stats showing that he's not working on skill, I mean, 13% from the three-point line, that's definitely downhill. Used to be a borderline 30%, low 30s, mid 30s three-point shooter a few years ago, and that's just, he's gone downhill skills-wise, but you can't take away things defensively. This guy's a freak of nature defensively. Guards 1 through 5, allows you to play him at the power forward position if you want to because of his versatility. Great rebounder, great shot blocker at the rim. Special lob threat, a really good mid-range guy, gets his own shot. He can work his way up much higher on this list, but it's hard to trust a guy who was averaging 22 last year that just looked disheartened, looked like he wasn't working as hard, and all the things that have happened in the offseason where he's said he didn't touch a basketball for a month or something like that. It's hard to trust this guy to really work on his game and really become better. And it's a sad thing, but, this is what he's earned. He's earned the 14th spot on this list. All right, the next guy on this list, in number 13, is Damian Lillard. Dame Dalla is a really great scorer. I mean, Damian Lillard is special when it comes to scoring the basketball. Perimeter shot creator for himself, deep three-point range. It's going to be a lot of fun watching him shoot it from the volleyball line next year. And, man, that guy is so special. And he's still young enough to be really good next year. He's not old enough where it's like, I'm really worried. He's a good passer, much better passer than Kyrie Irving. A better defender. He's an average defender. Nothing special, but very, very average. And his ability to pull out the defense so far out to the volleyball line makes him more valuable because that allows more spacing and more easy shots for everybody else on the floor when he's on the floor with them. All right. The next guy on this list, man, is exciting. Next guy on the list is number 12, Ja Morant. Now, this league is so good that he's number 12 and athletic freak, only going to get better. Good passer, pretty average defender, nothing special defensively. Really perimeter shot creator for himself. He just needs to be a little more efficient from the three-point line. Needs to get better from that side of things, but he's just so special attacking the rim, so special with his floaters and his ability to just hang in the air and make great finishes near the rim. He is just a really good passer. Really has a great head on his shoulders when it comes to being a leader and having high basketball IQ. He makes his team better. And this is just an indicator of how good the league is going to be next year in the top 10 that a guy like this misses. Number 11 is Jason Tatum. I mean, we just saw this guy dominate in the NBA Finals. This guy is a 28, 29 point per game scorer. He's definitely improved as a passer to a certain extent where it's not like a great strength, but it's also not like a great negative. He's just kind of in the middle. He is a phenomenal defender now. Like, he is special defensively now. He's worked so hard to get better at that, and everybody should be proud. He should be proud of himself, becoming a complete basketball player like that. So, a man defends the light out of the basketball. The next guy is somebody who's so underrated because we live in the moment. It's crazy to think that he gets this much disrespect. It's Trae Young. First things first, passing ability make everybody else better. I mean, this guy's a great passer. He's been compared to Steve Nash before. Like, he's a special top 5 passer in the NBA. You pair that with a great three-point shot creator who hasn't really developed the range yet perfectly yet. He has a room to grow to become even better shot creating for himself in the three-point line. He has room to grow to become better moving off ball. He's got a lot of areas of growth that could happen next year. And another thing that I want to say is he's not a great defender, but you have to understand that he leads the winning basketball because of how much attention he draws so far out. And, reason why I brought up the prisoner moment thing is 2 years ago he led his team to the Eastern Conference Finals, and Ja Morant didn't do that, but he didn't get near the same love, but he was averaging 29, 28 points per game. 29, it was like 28 and 8 is what Trae Young had last year. And he wasn't getting nearly the public notoriety as Ja Morant just because Ja Morant had a better team. It's just, it's all situation, it's all media, and I'm just not going to let that get in the way of what a special player Trae Young is. I mean, this guy's going to be leading to winning for a very long time. His passing ability paired with his three-point shot creation for himself is special. He's by far the greatest passer of all time with the three-point shot creation from the deep range. What I mean by that is he's a better passer than Steph. He's a better passer than Dame. It's not even close. Like, this guy's in a special realm. So you really have to give credit to his name. He's definitely earned number 10. Every guy on this list, top 10, are special. The next guy on this list is number 9, is Jimmy Butler. Jimmy Butler's a really, really good mid-range shot creator for himself, a phenomenal passer, a phenomenal defender. Now, this might... You have to remember, Jimmy Butler was having such a great playoffs in the East that it was insane. I mean, Jimmy Butler was that guy in the playoffs last year, and we just can't let that go. So that's why he's number 9. So,
Jimmy?
What are you thinking about
buckets?
Jimmy Butler, Chris?
James Butler.
Yeah.
Man.
Yeah.
I think that he's never been in a better situation than he is in Miami. I mean...
True.
Who would have thought, these years ago when he was with Chicago, playing with Derrick Rose, that this is the type of player that he would have turned into? Because, I was like, huh? Didn't he go on?
Yeah.
I don't know. But, man, Jimmy, I think that he's in a good situation. Like I said before, I think he just has, they have all of the tools to win. It's just whether or not they can figure out how to use them. One thing that's going to be a big downfall for that team going forward, but not necessarily Jimmy, will be whether the coaching can realize what they have on the bench. Don't be a Denver Nuggets type of squad. Realize that you have Tyler Hero. He should be your guy. That's your future right there. He can do it, whether defense or not. You have Jimmy on the team for a reason. You have Bam on the team for a reason. These are your defensive guys. You just have to figure out Tyler Hero. But yeah, Jimmy. I mean, what? I mean, he's probably gonna be a 25 point per game scorer, more than likely, he's literally the epitome of just and I said this before. I think when we were talking about the playoffs when they were playing against Celtics, he's the epitome of playing his own game. He literally does not do anything that he normally wouldn't do. Like, he doesn't go, okay, I'm going to shoot threes today, but I normally shoot jump shots in the mid-range. No, every game he's going to play is going to be mid-range, drop to the basket, defend. He really knows how to just play his own game, and he's mastered that. He's mastered his game. And not many players do that, because a lot of players, they get to a point where they're like, I have to change, I have to do this, I can't really... It may not work this way. I've been told this. People are in my ear about this. But Jimmy Butler really just like, this is me. This is the game I'm going to play, and it's working. So I'm going to keep doing that. I'm going to work on the skills that I have that I'm good at, and I'm just going to be the best at that.
Yeah, he's definitely a worker. And all of these guys are the top 10 are workers.
Yeah.
All right, ready to kick it number 8? This is prime time with this guy. I mean, Kawhi Leonard, number 8, heading into next year. He's actually going to be healthy. It's going to be crazy to actually watch him play in the NBA again. So what do you think about Kawhi?
I just feel like if they can figure it out, because, I mean, Kawhi's going to be Kawhi, but if they can figure it out between him and Paul George and kind of have, like, kind of a Boston sort of system where they have, like, maybe they start initiating their offense from different sides of the court instead of on the same side, because they really play the same. But I mean, like, Kawhi coming in, I mean, like, name-wise, he would be in the top 8 coming in. But, like, we don't know what the injury technically did to him. He hasn't played in a minute. So, I mean, like, I want to... Yeah, I'm expecting healthiness as well.
I'm just expecting him to be healthy.
He's going to be a top 10 player no matter what. But if he's not healthy, then we might see more Paul George than we would like to.
I could see that. Yeah, definitely. I think, he is... Kawhi is just such a phenomenal defender. He's so phenomenal at being his mid-range guy and just getting to his spots and getting his shots up at the areas where he wants to get those shots up. And I really think that, Kawhi Leonard he's just one of those guys, man, that's such a quiet killer. And, this top 8 is ridiculous. All these guys are special. And the next guy is a sad moment. LeGoat's number 7. The reason why I have LeGoat number 7 is he's 38 next year. Okay? I mean, most people when they're 38, like, this is when Kobe was retiring. Like most of these guys when they're 38, these guys are averaging 10 points a game. Like, father time is inevitable. Father time catches all athletes. And, he's slowly going downhill. You can see it. You can see that the explosion's not as high as it used to be. You can see that he's not as athletic as he used to be. And there comes a point in time where skill can only do so much. His 6'8", 250 frame is going to help him age gracefully because he'll always have size. But his skill is definitely going to be still high tier. I expect him to still be a great passer. I'm expecting 24, 8-8, 25, 8-8. That's what I'm expecting him to be, a great passer. But, he's number 7 because I think these guys in this league now that are top 6 are ridiculous. Like, every single one of these guys are absolutely insane. So, LeBron James, yeah, LeGoat is number 7. All right, so we're going to kick it to number 6. Number 6 is Kevin Durant. KD's still like 34, 35. He's still going to be in his peak. He's still a great scorer. He's still a great mind manipulator where it's just a great mind of scoring. But, he's fallen out of the top 5 because he earned it. We saw him get exposed by the Boston Celtics and get exposed because of his lack of passing the basketball. His passing ability, his high turnovers, there's a lot of issues. And we saw that guy get exposed when he doesn't have a dynamic point. I mean, that guy has enjoyed point guard paradise for 15 years. He had Russell Westbrook, top 10 point guard of all time. He had Steph Curry, who's in the competition for the best point guard of all time. And he had Kyrie Irving, who has the skill to be a top 10 point guard of all time, just may not have the resume because of games played and stuff like that. But, yeah, Kevin Durant is been blessed with great point guards, and we saw him really get exposed. Really, it was really bad. And all of these guys in the top 5 are insane. Like, these guys are special, and for him to be there, he's got to be special as well. And it's just this top 5 is one of the greatest top 5s in the NBA in depth, just depth of great top 5 talent. All right, so we're gonna go number 5. Number 5 is Nikola Jokic. I mean, how many times do we have to see him just carry that Denver Nuggets team and be great to really get the point in our heads that the man's 28, 10, and 10, and you're going to get it every night, and he's going to be one of the greatest passers ever. He's the greatest passer ever at the center position by a gazillion miles. His ability to handle the basketball and be versatile is just ridiculous. It's so much fun to watch a 6'11" guy do stuff like that. Can't really defend, but when you make your teammates better every single second of the game, like he does with his passing ability, you have to put that in the value. That has to be valued. That has to be shown. And Nikola Jokic is ridiculous. Ridiculous. Great three-point shooter, highly efficient basketball player. The more talent you put around him, the more better your team is. He is just a conductor. If your team's good, then you have talent. Jokic makes it. There's nobody that can't play with Jokic at all. So that's really how special he is. And number four on this list is Steph Curry. Steph Curry. Yes, I know you may disagree with me. Yes, Jason, you're a prisoner in the moment. No, I'm not. We've seen this guy account to winning way too much for people to not get it into their thick skulls that whatever you think about him statistically is not what he is on the real basketball floor and how he equates to winning. Because he equates to winning because, yes, can he average 30 on a bad team? Sure. But where he becomes special is, is he a good passer? Yes, is he an average defender? Sure. But this is where things really, really become special. Yes, is he a great three-point shooter at the perimeter? Sure, yeah. Okay, then what's the difference between him and Dame? The difference between him and Dame is when he lets go of the ball, it's death for everybody else who's playing against him. It's 24 seconds of I'm running around, I'm creating great opportunities for everybody else that's playing with me, with him. Because of all the attention he draws, because of all of his movement, because of all of those type of things, he is just so special in that realm. And, Steph Curry is the greatest off-ball mover of all time. And you have to understand that leads to so much winning because of all the attention it gets. And nobody else does that in the league. Trae Young doesn't do that. Dame Dollar doesn't do that. And it's just his own special thing. And people really have to count that to winning basketball. Because all that attention he draws leads everything else to be easier for everybody else. When everybody else touches the basketball, when everybody else moves, it's really easy for everybody else. And it's because of Steph Curry. And you have to give him the love because of that. And, this guy's number 4. In the top 3, oh, man. Oh, my goodness, this top 3 are so special. Number 3 is Joel Embiid. I don't know whatever everybody else is smoking, but Embiid's the better center. Yes, is Jokic a great passer? Yes, is Jokic a great efficient basketball player? But you need to stop using analytics and actually watch the basketball game to understand whenever he draws double teams, whenever he gets to the ball in the paint, it is, oh my goodness, red flags, start the alarms because we are about to get 2 points given up or we are doubling. It is an immediate double. This guy is ridiculous. Highly skilled, mid-range shot creator for himself, mid-range ISO guy, post death. 3-point shooter, pretty okay passer, good shot blocker at the rim, dominant rebounder, dominant force. You have to understand his force. His force is so much more. It's like Steph, where he draws in so much attention that it makes everything easier for everybody else. And people have to understand that. And look, it's hard to calculate it. It really is, but when he gets the ball in that paint, man, it is over with. All that attention he draws have to go into your evaluation of how valuable he is as a player, and then never will go on the stat sheet. So, I really think Embiid's 3, and man, these top 2 guys are ridiculous. These 2 are the bird of the in Magic of this next decade. And Luka Doncic is 2. Luka Doncic is 1. We just watched him take his team to the Western Conference Finals with Jalen Brunson as the second best player on the team. Describing this guy is so hard because he's a maestro passing the basketball. I mean, it's ridiculously special. He makes everything easier for everybody else. He draws so much attention into him because of his dynamic of scoring and passing. And he does it so much more in an efficient manner than James Harden did it, in so much more of a high basketball IQ manner than James Harden did it. And his ability to shot create from the perimeter, his ability to shot create from everywhere on the floor, his ability to make everybody else better. He can't defend, but that guy is ridiculous offensively, and his value is just so astronomically high. And if you want to challenge me on that, then try to figure out how he took that team to the Western Conference Finals, and I'll tell you how crazy you are. Because, look, he took them there. You can't argue it. He took them to the Western Conference Finals off of his talent. That man almost beat the Clippers when they had Kawhi and Paul George by himself. Right? This guy has done so many things in prior playoff series where this guy has averaged 38, 10, and 10. And like something, he's insane in the playoffs. The way he steps up, this guy's ridiculous. This guy can be a top 10 player of all time. And we got another guy that can be that and can be the greatest power forward of all time. And that's Giannis Antetokounmpo is number 1. I mean, if you don't have him number 1, you are watching a television screen last year, because it's his league. This is his league because he does everything. He's a top 5 defender in the NBA. He's a top 5 rebounder in the NBA. He's a top 5 passer in the NBA. He's a top 5 interior force in the NBA. He just doesn't shoot threes. It's ridiculous. His athletic gifts are insane. His ability to put pressure at the rim's insane. It's invaluable. It's LeBron-like. That's what he is. He's LeBron-like. And the greatest comparison ever to LeBron James is him. And he's so special. He plays every single second, puts his heart on the floor, cares about winning, cares about being a leader, cares about high basketball IQ, cares about defensive basketball IQ. This guy is a winner. I mean, if Chris Middleton was in the Eastern Conference playoffs last year, they would have went to the NBA Finals and they would have beat. They took the Boston Celtics to 6 without Chris Middleton. They took the team that people had favored to win the NBA Finals before the NBA Finals started against the Golden State Warriors to 6 without Chris Middleton. With the great defensive team that they had, and he made it look like you can throw out Wilt, you can throw out MJ, you can throw out LeBron, you can throw out Gary Payton, you can throw out whoever you want, all-time defenders. It doesn't matter. It does not matter. I'm still scoring. Bill Russell, still scoring. This guy's unstoppable. And he deserves number 1 because he does everything. He leads to winning. He's a winner. He just is, man. Just is. Giannis Antetokounmpo, best player in the NBA. So yeah, this is going to be the end of the podcast. Chris had some personal stuff come up during the podcast, is why I was talking most of the podcast at the end there. So yeah, we definitely really appreciate you guys listen to our podcast on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, wherever you guys are coming from. We really appreciate everybody. We want to make this a group and make people, have other people they can talk about basketball with. We're gonna have a lot of creative ideas during the playoffs, during the off season. Whenever Kevin Durant gets traded, we'll be talking about that. Donovan Mitchell gets traded. Those type of things are big news that just hasn't happened yet. So I want to give you guys some good content, top 25 players heading in the next season. So I'm Jason Collins. We're the Basketball Addicts. Peace out.